Kareem, we express our praise and gratitude to Allah Ta'ala, and we seek blessings on the Prophet, peace be upon him. Okay, so now we're saying that another cause or manifestation of rejection is tribalism in belief. So starting with ayah 109. وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. So many among the people of the book love لَوْ يَرُدُّونَكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ إِيمَانِكُمْ كُفَّارًا. That you would literally apostate from belief into rejection. Good. Now think about this. Suppose you have someone who's famous and they convert to a religion. Okay. And this we've sort of discussed before anyway. Would you prefer, speaking as a Muslim, would you prefer that they convert to, say, atheism or agnosticism?
Agnosticism.
Why?
At least they're open to seeing, at least they're open to thinking about religion more complexly, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? What else did you say? Why?
Because, then you're not rejecting God.
Okay. Would you prefer that they convert to agnosticism? And I'm saying prior to that, they're just, who knows what they are. Let's say they're Scientology. Okay, so they convert to whatever they were, either to agnosticism or Hinduism. Dun, dun, dun. Wait for the dramatic music. Now I gotta take my dramatic drink.
I know what you want us to say, but I don't know.
What is the wrong?
What do I want you to say?
Really?
What's your answer?
Oh, hang on. Oh, no, it's not. I was going to say agnostic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's still a search.
Okay.
But it's all happy and that's it.
Okay.
Wait, so atheism's not a search? Is that what we were assuming?
No, not atheism.
Atheism is rejection.
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say that I think that each scenario you can find a way that that person could potentially get to God. I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer. Every scenario is different. Even in, I think, Hinduism, if you talk to, the Hindus who actually know the religion, there is a concept of oneness of God and manifestations of that God. So even with them, there is that monotheistic concept that's not really seen in practice, And for anybody who's studying any religion, whether it's the religion of atheism, or they're confused, they can use that pathway to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a matter of, are you really searching within that, within that realm?
Okay.
I think every pathway can lead you back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay. Well, let's say that's fair. That every pathway can eventually lead you, hopefully, to God. But let's say they go into this and they stop. So, agnosticism or Hinduism?
And they're stopped at agnostic.
And that's it?
Stop as agnostic or stop as Hindu?
They don't
Neither's not
convert
an
to anything else ever?
Sorry?
They don't convert to anything else ever?
Yeah, they don't
Say it again?
convert to anything.
They don't convert to
Meaning
anything else ever?
they try to be the best agnostics they can be, or they try to be the best Hindus they can be.
What does that mean to be the best agnostic?
How do you be the best
Best
agnostic?
searcher?
Agnostic is not necessarily a search. It's just that there is a God.
Such
that
a
I
broad.
But we can say everything is not necessarily search, right? How many Muslims do you know that are searching?
Yeah.
Let's read your mind.
I think
and
it's just trying to say from a Muslim
I wanted to
perspective.
say Hinduism because at least there's a belief in
And then you're like, I'm Daisy, I could never.
Instead of guessing about what he's going
I'm
to say.
gonna say Hinduism and because
You're just ending the conversation. Yeah, I'm not.
No,
interested.
because-
No, I think he
Yeah,
wants
why?
to say. I think he wants us to say agnostics because he does because to show us that we still have that tribalism. I would rather them the tribal religion.
Is that what's taking place right now in this
I said
moment?
Hinduism. Okay.
That's what I'm like.
I didn't bite my tongue. I just said
We
it.
take a vote and then ask him.
Okay, let's change it. Let's change it then. Okay, agnostic or Jewish, but you're an Israeli Jewish.
You totally want my theory. But it's
People of the book, I'll take
Sorry?
it.
Yeah, people of the book.
Yeah, it's people
What's the
who love
difference?
God.
Between
The two options that you just gave us.
agnostic or Israeli Jewish.
It's really
I think it's
In other words,
a.
a national, somebody who believes very, it's not just a Jew who believes in, God, but somebody who believes very firmly in this state of Israel as a.
Well, it's not necessarily that case. It's
That's
someone
what you
who's,
said,
who's
though.
No, that's like
okay. A
Zionism.
Pakistani Muslim is someone who believes in the Islamicness of Pakistan. Not necessarily.
Yeah. Have you met Namra?
I'm sorry. Have you been?
Have you met Namra?
Okay. So what do you think? Agnostic or Israeli Jewish?
Like someone who believes like Israel has to be a state, like
That's like Zionism. He's just saying it's what Israeli
Yeah.
do.
Someone
Like
who's
some-
Jewish, but they're Israeli.
some
What's the
Jews-
difference
Okay, so let's put it that way. They're
Saying it to be
Jewish,
provocative.
and they're born and raised in this region that in their passport is called Israel.
Why does that be different? That doesn't make
It's an exercise in thinking.
God.
Yeah, you guys. Well,
There's no fail, guys. You're not going to be like, oh, fail, leave. No.
No, so you got it right, okay? I'm
You
gonna
just
still
don't
pick
care.
you.
Like you're just indifferent.
Well,
Makes no
then
difference.
why come to class?
No, I
We're
don't
doing
think that, like,
this to
everything
learn
world.
something.
No, I mean
learning.
the answer. Like, because
Just
there's
Play along. What? First instincts.
Okay.
First instincts.
Israeli
Jew, because it's still.
Seriously?
people
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
There we go. We have an answer. Thank
of
you.
the book.
Oh, okay.
We have an answer. Okay, who else?
people in the books.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Oh, okay. Tag along.
There we go.
I like you, man. Okay, how about, okay,
Trying to dig at our tribalance.
Jewish or Christian?
What is, what is our natural instinct to gravitate
Oh,
towards,
God.
I would pick
Hinduism
Jewish.
is
I
not our sex.
know what you're saying. So I feel like I don't know.
More in line.
Which one?
Why are you conferring on
Okay, I appreciate all the
Christians believe
discussion that's
God
going on,
died.
but
It's okay.
how about an answer? It's not a very, Jewish or Christian? Would you like them to convert to Judaism or Christianity?
Judaism.
Judaism, why?
Because I think there's more.
Social media is allowed.
No.
You convert to
Now you're trying to give me a high five, and I was like, okay.
I thought there's like some parts of
You
Just
can,
because I
for the
think there's a
most
lot
part.
more
It depends. There's
emphasis on, like,
conditions.
there's more Orthodox Christian. I don't know.
Okay, anyone else? Says Christian or Jewish?
So I can see the similarities.
I say Jew.
I'm,
Where does this voice come from? Mary?
I
Jewish,
don't know.
why?
I would think they're
I
like the
feel
same
like-
because they're both people that
I just feel like it's
both
closer,
had
because like
prophets.
Christians have the Holy Trinity, and that kind of like splits a lot into like
Okay,
3 parts, and they say he has a son, which kind of bothers me.
okay.
Let me see.
Anyone else?
I would say Christian.
Why?
Just for the sake of argument, but also because I think they have, like, they're one of the known religions that have a prophet after Musa alayhi salam, or they have Isa alayhi salam, which was, obviously
Okay.
after Musa alayhi salam, and they believe in the Torah. So I feel like to take that extra step where, like, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came
Okay.
after Isa alayhi salam, I think
Okay,
that.
so you're saying Christian because they have, in addition to the previous prophets, they also have Jesus. And,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, how about? All right. Okay.
Sounds so evil. I don't know what's coming next.
Either Jewish or Christian,
Uh-huh.
or Ismaili.
Oh, that was hard.
What's
We
this?
can define, what is these kind of, how do they differentiate themselves?
Ismaili is a subgroup within the Shias that
Oh, yeah.
say that this path of imams that we have in Shia tradition, for some Ismailis, they're turning to a specific imam, but in general, they have a person who is a descendant and is thus an imam, and he's the Aga Khan, he's the head of the movement. For some Ismailis, he's God. For most Ismailis, he's not.
I thought it was just like they had another prophet after.
So
I
which
knew about the
which
Aga
part of
Khan,
Qadiani.
but I didn't know they thought he was
Sorry?
God.
That's-
which
Is that Ahmadis?
Ismail is the ones that think he's
It's
God?
like either one.
Well, obviously,
But
if it's the
it's
one that they think he's God, then I would say Jewish or Christian.
Okay, but what if it's the other one?
I would say Ismaili if it's
Ismaili?
if the
I mean, yeah, because
Okay.
you're only
At
saying
least they're
moms and
accepting
stuff,
the
you're not saying
prophet.
Okay.
anything.
And now you're getting a headache. from
Like
all this
I
time.
know what you.
Too much learning. Just tell us.
I know you want us to
parochial.
like say like tribalism. That's why you should choose like Ismaili or whatever. But I'm still picking with like people of the book.
Okay, how about,
I mean, at the end of the day, they're still.
But there's
Muslims.
no right answer, right?
There is.
How about
There are answers this
Jewish or
might
Christian?
So obviously
Jewish or Christian? Yeah. We need number back. I feel more comfortable making fun of CPS when she's here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So like the Ismailis that you're saying have the Azan or whatever,
Yeah.
why wouldn't they be Muslim? Like, I mean, because like you're just, I mean, they don't believe in another prophet. They just think they're leaders, right? These imams, they think they're leaders.
Okay. Well, it depends. I mean, the imams are looked at as having very special qualities.
like
Hey, they're not merely like the head of an organization.
So they're kind of considered.
You say like Sufis, is that what you're saying?
Like Wahi.
Oh.
Like they go.
Not quite Wahi, but yeah, but I mean something special. Yeah. Someone said like Sufis? Am I just hearing things? Yeah.
You just heard something from me, you assumed that.
Yeah.
That he said Sufi.
Yeah, exactly.
gosh.
Okay, how about Jewish or Christian or Nation of Islam?
Nation of Islam.
Why?
Because at least they're close.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, but don't Nation of Islam think that that guy was like God or something?
No, he was like a
That
prophet,
Master
right?
Fard came in the form, it was God in the form of a man.
Yeah, I would go Jewish.
Who?
Okay?
No,
Whatever brings peace to your heart and establishes your relationship with Allah. I don't know.
Okay.
No, I can say Sufi.
Okay. Yeah, I should go that far. Okay, to be Muslim or to be Sufi. Oh no! You didn't go there. No. Okay, no. Okay. So what's taking place in this ayah is that there are people who would, among the people of the book, who would wish that you as believers would apostate from your belief and become a kafir. So think about what that's saying. Rather than have you even embrace their belief, you become kafir, and meaning a rejecter. And the reason is hasad. So what is hasad? Hasad is okay. Think of the feeling that I get nothing, okay, but that person gets everything. Okay, so we call it envy, jealousy. But hasad is you have this outlook where you feel like you get nothing, they get everything, and you want them destroyed for it. That's hasad. So the other forms of envy would be I feel like I get nothing, they get everything, I want what they get, right? Or I want something comparable. Hasad is I feel like I get nothing, they get everything, and I want them to suffer for it. And so this is often at the center of tribalism. That you want your team, members of your team, to have everything. And you want everyone else to have nothing. So let's change the question, but we're not going to go through the whole exercise considering how much of a rebellion I apparently almost caused. The back to the question we asked about 40 ayahs ago. Can a non-Muslim go to paradise? Either we can answer that using text, as we tried to do, right? Or we can take the approach that many people say, which is basically to say, no, it's not possible, because that would be unfair, because I got to work so hard that they don't have to do anything, right? That becomes a form of envy, right? Why should I get paradise? Why should they get paradise, and they don't have to do anything, and then I got to do so much, and then I don't even know if I'm going to get paradise, right? And so, why do people have this envy, this type of envy? That this is something so fierce that we have a whole surah at the end seeking protection from this.
Wait, why are people so like upset that most like?
And aside from all that,
Oh.
this personality trait that many people have, that I feel like I get nothing, that person gets everything, so I want them destroyed.
Ingratitude?
Sorry?
Ingratitude?
So it becomes a type of manifestation of ingratitude, right? It's like an ingratitude that is never followed up with seeking forgiveness or anything like that. That think back all the way to back to the beginning when we were discussing the first surah. We were saying that ingratitude is a type of anger, right? And the behavior of anger is what? It's like fire. And what does fire do? Fire tries to stay alive by burning everything down until there's nothing left. That is the nature of anger. So if I have a demeanor of ingratitude, I'm on the path of anger. Good. And if I'm on the path of anger, anger's nature is that it often seeks to self-perpetuate. Like when you get angry, like when you get really angry, you start looking for reasons to get even more angry, right? And this is a natural consequence of that, right? Where you can't be happy for anything or anyone, and you feel pleasure in the suffering of other people. Right?
So that's like the end result of multiple cascading events that start with
Ingratitude. Yeah. And so we say gratitude is like water. It puts that fire out.
And even backtracking a little bit, because we just did the story of creation with Rod, is how Shaitan caused Adam and Eve. It says he took away their sakina, their contentment. So that's like the beginning of this anger, and it's all like a downhill.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But that's like Shaitan's role as one person.
And so this then can become a shared delusional fantasy to the point that it becomes a whole tribal outlook. Right? It's one thing if one person feels this, right? I get nothing, that person gets everything. When they suffer, it brings me joy. But this can be something where a whole bunch of people get together and feel the same thing.
So when you had the tribes at the time of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
Yeah.
one tribe literally wanted to see the other tribes burn.
I mean, the default relationship with the tribes was war, unless they had a treaty. Right? And so they had a whole structure of treaties like this. So the Quraysh is on top. The Quraysh itself is a treaty of a number of families together. And then they had other tribes that would be responsible for different things in this whole superstructure. Some would take care of the roads, others would focus on the courts and such. But effectively, isn't that what we do like with our sports teams, right? Right. I mean, this is very much the American way, right? It's the adversary system. That we don't just want to win, we want to destroy the other team, right? And unless we're talking about the Cubs losing, I don't think there's a problem. I'm kidding. Yeah. Okay, so see what I was doing? I was doing it my anti-Chicago Cubs tribalism. Okay. Yeah, apparently.
That tribalistic mentality, do we equate their loss with our victory, even if there isn't that?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying.
No, but what if there isn't that correlation? What if their loss gives us no gain? Is there just like kind of like an evil pleasure in seeing other people?
Don't we feel that?
Yeah,
I can
totally relate to that. Like every
You're
time
like, I just feel that way every time I enter this house, and all these happy people that are around. Yeah.
But like every time I see the Heat lose, even if it's not to like the Bulls, I'm just like, yes, yes.
Everyone feels that.
I like the Heat. I like LeBron.
We have a Heat hater.
Yeah. What? I can never come back to this class ever again. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So what about now? Like just to draw out a picture for the Fox News loves to put up the picture of the person dancing when 9/11 happened.
Yeah, exactly. So my cousin goes to another cousin's house, meaning on like his other side of the family. This uncle, who I guess I've never met, a couple days after 9/11, and he was saying, man, like how much pleasure 9/11 was giving him, right? And so they're watching, footage because that was all the footage for 2 years, right? And he's saying, yeah, well, I'm saying it's not me, it's someone else, yeah. He's saying like in Urdu, I know you can appreciate this, but this gives me great pleasure, right? And he's living in America. Right?
Living in America.
Yeah. So how crazy that is. But the point is that, this is something that you can find in people. But the scarier part of saying is not just that, but when it becomes a shared feeling, a shared sentiment. And so this is tribalism.
Where's the line between competitiveness and
Good. So let's jump really quickly. I think it's like 150 something. We'll find it. فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. What 48? So 148. Everyone has a direction. وَلِكُلِّ وِجْهَةٌ هُوَ مَوَلِّيهَا. Everyone has a direction to which to direct their face. Meaning, everyone has goals. So, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. And so be the first in good. What do your translations say? Hasten to... Race? Race is good.
So race to all of these.
Yeah, so what does it mean to be first? It means to compete with everyone else. And so the point is that the nasty tribalism we're talking about is the one that's driven, fueled by this envy and hate. What you should have is competition in doing good. Okay. So competition in doing good means everyone is racing to do good. And you're trying to be better than everyone else. Right? And so this would be the example, the common example is Omar, who decides, okay, today I'm going to beat Abu Bakr. Right? I'm going to give away half of my wealth, and then he finds out Abu Bakr and give all his wealth. Right? So in our tradition, competition is a very good thing. But what we have in the previous ayah 109 is, I can't even call it competition.
That bothers me actually.
What bothers you?
The fact that it's called competition, because I feel like, you know, when you think about like the college days, like there was,
Yeah, it was a long
I
time
feel
ago.
like there's like that immature attitude of like, oh, I have something, like I have old exams and I'm not going to give it to other people. I'm just going to sit here and study it. But you want to give it to everybody. Like you want everyone to do well. It's not taking away from you. Like everybody should learn this stuff. Like I feel like that's how we should be with our faith. Like we should spread that knowledge. We should spread that whatever secrets we have, we should give that to everybody. Because, you know, I mean, it's about everyone doing better. It shouldn't be about competition. It should be about being your best for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right?
Okay, so which
So
part
if
are
you
you
see someone
disliking?
doing something good, you should inspire to do better, not
Okay,
that
yeah.
you want to necessarily do more than them, you know?
But
or
isn't
be better than them.
the competition? I don't think he means like putting the other person down by like.
But that's exactly intrinsic in competition against like other people.
If we look at the example in 109, that type of tribalism, when you want the other side destroyed, to lose, to suffer, right? As opposed to what we saw in the other ayah, which I already forgot what number it is, but the idea of racing against each other in doing good would be a healthy competition.
You can push each other to be better.
But
Right, I'm just saying there's an element of it where it's, you know, when you think of competition, you also think of cutthroat, and you think of like...
All those things can happen,
yeah,
right?
I'm just saying, there's that element of it that would be unhealthy.
But see, there's a difference though. When you're talking about an athletic competition, you inherently you win by your other team losing. That doesn't mean that what this is saying is that that's not a healthy outlook for life. To define yourself by other people's loss. He's not talking about that competition. I mean, I think there's a muddling of terms here.
But I'm just saying the race should be against yourself, not against your companions. We should all be working together to
when
do the best
you
that
are
we can.
having
I don't think there's a
competition
problem with
with your
racing
companions,
against
it
your
helps you
companions. Sorry? Say it again.
If you're like racing against like your companions, it helps you push yourself.
Yeah, I think it'd be very beneficial, right? That.
You raise the bar higher and higher based on what the other people are doing.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? Effect.
I mean, I think it's fine. I think as long as you are, you know, wishing the same for others as you wish for yourself. Like it shouldn't
You're not
be
wishing
that-
ill upon them.
No, but
The
I'm
key
saying, like,
is you're wishing success, but you want to beat them, right? As opposed to you're wishing for them to die and suffer a horrible pain. You know.
Well, when
I mean, as just an example, when we were at Hajj, there was this sort of unspoken competition going
Run around the
on.
Kaaba as fast as you can.
Well,
Who had more dua books? Like,
who read more? Who was going longer to the who was going later at night? Even though you weren't even knowing, you were just thinking, I'm gonna do more than
I was
that
like,
guy.
we all knew.
It's like one between these two guys right here, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna do.
They're all pretending like, oh, I'm not paying attention to what he's doing.
Exactly.
I got 10 people praying behind me. What do you got? But you can continue your point.
No, but the point being that you can actually, in other words, there were times when we were so tired we wanted to go to sleep, and then Sheikh Salah would get up there and he'd be like, "You're only here for 3 days. There are people here who have spent their life getting here, and they're going to spend the whole night, and you're going to go to sleep? No, you're going to go to sleep."
And some people in the group are like, yeah, but why don't you be quiet for now?
It's not a cheat you go to sleep.
Well,
But I kind of
Yeah.
agree with Omer's point about how like
there's like 50 Omers in this room.
oh with Omer
Yeah.
about it like it's not the same as like a sports competition where like someone's a loser because in the end they're winning to inshallah Jannah. So it's like getting more houses in Jannah or whatever more.
And I think, like, according to this ayah 148, like, I think competition is not even the right, like, it's kind of the right word, but I think the way it's, like, it's so beautiful. It's like, and everyone has a direction to which you should turn, and then, you know, hasten to do your good works, and then it says Allah will bring you all together. Surely Allah has power over all things. So that's, like, so beautiful. Like, there's, like, competition, so you should, like, run towards it and race towards it, but, like, Allah's guaranteeing that He's going to bring us all together. Like, that's, yeah, I don't, like...
There's a different spirit to that. That's not that competition. The word competition, like, you know.
Yeah, maybe
doesn't,
maybe that's...
encompass and embody.
Yeah.
Give me a better word.
I mean, she's coming from UFC, dude. Everyone's all cutthroat, competitive,
Yeah.
gunner attitude, sabotaging other people's
Totally.
experiments.
She's a girl too, so like, right?
People who don't share exams, that's like messed up.
Don't share it.
Totally, I agree. Yeah.
Like their notes, old stuff.
No, but you know, when I was taking OPEC at younger school, they were so cutthroat about it. I was like, just give it to everybody, guys.
No, it's
We're all
entitlement
people.
mentality.
We're gonna learn.
Yeah, it does, because
What's the big deal?
Okay. Well,
Good competition.
did you come up with a good word?
It's about facilitating everyone, like reaching for goals and facilitating each other in getting to that goal.
Okay.
So it's not really like, you know, you can say, oh, well, here's the thing. It's saying, I see so-and-so doing 10 and I'm at 2. So wait a second, I thought I was doing pretty good. I better step up my game, you know? And
Okay, so you are
it's
saying
about-
we can't compare to our
but
companions.
here's the thing, though, is that at that point you see that there's a potential for you to do more and to do better because it's out there, you know?
Okay.
You see it in front of you. But then it's not about I want to do more than him. It's just I want to do more.
I don't think
It's
it's,
about
I don't
you
think
else
it's
want that.
bad even if
Yeah,
we
it's
say,
more than him.
I want to do more than him.
That's fine. But then but that isn't about I want to say I did more than him. It's just I want to do more. I want to do better.
Fine,
It's
okay.
about you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay?
And you know what it is? You can even say I want to do more than him, and I hope he does that too. I mean,
Okay.
you know, I don't think
It's
about
not like you're trying to make your
winning,
life
though.
a
It's not about winning
competition.
against
Your lives
people.
till Allah, right?
But don't you think it's
It's
a
not like you
problem?
do
Oh,
work
is
and
there-
walk in and be like,
I would call it more of like a marathon because there's people around you trying to race to the end of the marathon.
Uh-huh.
You're not focused about beating them, really. You're focused about getting to the
That's
end.
what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And
Oh.
you might be like, okay, these guys are in front of me. I might want to step up my game.
Okay.
Except then
You don't feel tempted to like...
yeah, but you're not like, okay, I don't want to trip them because
Because he
I don't
cares
care
about
about
color than everybody else, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I just want to get to the end.
All right. Any other thoughts? You were saying something?
Call it a marathon.
Marathon?
If I see Muhammad and man in front of me at the marathon, I still want to be
Yeah, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm cool with that, man.
You did one Hajj, I'm going to do 2 Hajjs. Simultaneously.
But,
Yes.
but like, isn't there a problem with that? Like, saying I want to be better, I want to do more deeds than this person because like,
But,
doesn't that change the intention of your deeds? Like,
but isn't that what Omar did?
yeah.
Omar, yeah.
Salam.
Sorry?
I said alayhi salam.
Or, yeah. Radiyallahu anhu, yeah.
Oh, I read radiyallahu anhu. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you didn't message, but yeah.
Like I don't know, like it just seems like your intention. I don't know. It doesn't seem that.
But saying
I know,
how would
I
you
know.
rationalize that? Yeah. And we're saying it's okay. It's okay to want to surpass this other person, right? In winning the pleasure of God. What?
Yeah, we have an opinion here, so I was just trying to tell you about this kind of. She goes, you know what? There's something where it's not from your heart when you're trying to compete against another human being, because that's like she said, it's from the flesh, so it's kind of from
Okay.
your nuts.
Interesting. Okay.
Which I actually agree with. I
Okay.
think that you should want the best for everybody.
Okay.
If everyone's trying, and she said, well, what if somebody's behind, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals something to them that brings them to the top of at the forefront? You know,
Okay.
you just I don't know. I mean, you would wish that for everybody.
Okay.
I'm
But
not into sports, so I don't get this
I
competitive
agree.
stuff. Okay, like I'm just like.
Well, I mean, okay,
sports
if
is a whole different-
you look
You're,
at
you get like a girl oriented
Yeah.
you have to be competitive.
Yeah.
So if you look at ayah 26 of Surah Mutaffifin,
Wow.
because I remember Noman kind of addressed this topic.
Let's go to ISIS.
You know,
Which eye?
it's ayah 26 of Surah Mutaffifin. That's Surah 83.
Are you coming from the guy I would summarize as every lecture, I think we should all be competitive. If he's competitive, we should all be competitive.
Yeah.
So it's ختامه مسك وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون. So, you know, the ultimate thing is to drink of this misk, you know. So for this, let the competitors compete. This is an order from Allah, right? That you should compete for good. You should compete, you know, with each other to raise the bar higher and higher, you know. And so this is an order, you know.
I will say, yeah, it's definitely correct that a type of competitiveness is coming from the flesh. But if we speak of it as competition to serve God the best, then I think it's not necessarily
But
from
there
the
isn't
flesh.
a wish
You know what I'm saying?
for anyone else to be important. I guess that's the problem. That's the intrinsic problem I have with it. Is that
Wait, what's the wish?
I'm just saying that, you know, to be the best is one thing, but then I feel like part of that is wanting others to do less than you. I just feel like we should all wish for everybody to do well.
Okay.
Is that like
I don't think we're inherently saying. I don't think we're inherently saying that we want them to do better, and that's the whole point.
That's the problem that I have with it.
That's the whole point. Is that if you want the other person to be destroyed, that's hasad. We're talking about competition, which means that you don't want them to be destroyed. You don't want them to like not do well.
If you did well and you are.
But you're looking at the other person as a barometer of how well you should be doing,
Right.
and you're
fine. That's one thing, but then I think that you should pray for all Muslims to get the highest level of Ramadan.
But not,
and
but not non-Muslims.
No, everyone. Everyone
Okay.
should. I think everyone should. It's fair game.
But the first thing you said was Muslims.
I did say that. I did say
Dun
that.
dun. Yeah, I don't
Right.
know.
We got it.
We don't know who gets it and who doesn't. So.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. She's saying. Go ahead. Say a lot.
I don't know, I just look at things a little bit different. It's
All right,
like, okay, just say for instance, we were like reading the Quran.
Okay.
And I want to hurry up and read it like faster than him. But that doesn't mean that it's something, I don't know, I'm just saying, okay, I won. But
To each is their own. That's what that
No,
I
but
said.
for
To
the
each is
example
their
of
own
the
goal.
Quran,
Maybe
just
my
who
goal
can
is
read
that
it
I want to
better,
read
not
it with better
necessarily faster.
understanding that person.
Exactly.
Maybe my goal is that I want to read it, but it's still okay for me to want to say, if I had a goal, to be able to, okay, so my brother memorized 1/4 of the Quran, I want to memorize a half. And then he thinks, well, I'm not going to let that go, I'll memorize the whole thing. You know, there is something that can be positively driving that competition.
You just said the key word, your brother. So it's not nothing that you're dragging. You know, you're competing with the flesh. It's not something that's like your desire. You just want to.
It's kind of hard to compete with
because
But
your brother
we're saying
knows
that
more.
that's not wrong, right? What we're doing is we're lowering the bar in terms of what's acceptable behavior.
But that's so like out of mercy, kind of.
I don't know, see what.
Yeah, I mean exactly.
Wait,
Are you saying like out
There's
of
a
mercy,
balance.
the bar-
I'm sorry.
Are you saying out of mercy the bar is being lowered, that you don't have to have this like just this pure intention? Like I mean, I'm not saying it's unpure intention to like want to beat someone else, but is it like a mercy from God that He's like accepting those as good deeds and like
Okay,
even encouraging
I'll
it?
put you like this. All right, so both of you in the back are saying, okay, I should want to compete against myself, be the best person I can be.
I agree.
I should not compete with other people, and I should definitely not wish any harm or suffering to anyone else. Yeah.
Well, not just harm and suffering.
And do both of you live that?
But if everybody's willing to be the best, then everyone you should.
Do both of you live that?
Well, we all like have sins.
Ah, dun dun dun.
Yeah,
And we're
but
saying.
to say that would be a lie. You'd be like,
Okay,
yeah,
right, and what we're saying here is
But
that,
I'm not saying that it's right. I do
but I'm
it.
saying it's not necessarily wrong. But the deeper point I'm making is that nobody does that, right? The realm of should, everyone would agree, yeah, that you should be competing against yourself and everything and
Human nature.
all that. But the point is that the tradition is focusing on your real nature, right? Not how we should behave, because nobody fulfills that.
This was part of the hard wiring that we have, is to be competitive. And what one of those things that when it comes to matters of the deen, you should be competitive with your brothers to go higher and higher and better and better.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, all right, let's say I'm Omer or whoever, and I can give. The Omer. Okay, so let's say I want to give some of my wealth. I want to like show up, my friend Nadia here, right? And I'm going to give half of my wealth for, Fisbillah.
In the way of
what's in the way of Allah. So what stops me from giving? Yeah, thank you. What stops me from
I just
giving
want to see
all of it? Right? What stops me from giving all of it? Well, something stops me. I'm afraid for my family. I have to do X, Y, or Z. I'll buy a new house, whatever, right? So then Nadia goes and gives everything she has, right?
Oh.
All right. So then I'm like, whoa, like so part of my lesson is, oh, that's possible, right? Oh, she gave everything. How did she do that? Oh, she trusts Allah to provide for her, right? Well, there's a lesson for me that, well, if she trusts Allah that much, then maybe that was something that was stopping me. Maybe I need to trust Allah more. That's something I can work on. So it demonstrates something in me that was prohibiting me from doing more than I actually could, right?
That's definitely one of the benefits of competition. Yeah, I think it's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you need a positive spin on it, then that's it. It shows you what you are able to do that maybe you didn't know you were able to do.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, done that.
Yeah.
I feel like in Ramadan, like if you're just at the masjid and you're just like, if I'm just like sitting there and I'm seeing my friend like she's praying for a long time, I'll just be like, wow, like mashallah, and like I'll just go start praying, and I never would have done that if I hadn't seen her. But I'm not sitting there thinking, like I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, I wish you would stop praying and stop praying more than me, like So I feel
that's not the point of stopping. But he's saying that then you feel this competitive nature to do more than her.
And we're saying that's not.
We're saying that's positive.
We're
That's
saying
good.
Good human nature. Okay, so here's you're better not saying that. As we understand. Okay, so does it work for you so far?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I think it's like a mercy that like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows our nature and He's allowing it. Because
that's a good point too.
I just think it's a mercy.
I'm saying it's not just allowance. I'm saying
instruction.
Yeah. Because if we live in the should realm. I think there's multiple problems there. One, I could be saying 1,000 times I should be doing this, but I'm not even living up to it, right? But deeper than that, I think that's a realm of much more unhappiness.
I think as long as you're not like, I feel like it should be an effort where you join together to do that too.
No one's saying that's wrong.
That's all.
I wonder if there's a gender
I'm not saying I don't want to be best.
I think it's an if component.
No, it says it in that ayah, and I think Mrs. Rose making that point, but it's like sometimes you just have to do the action, whatever the intention is, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts the love of that action even more. Like I think just what Noor was saying, like sometimes like you don't feel like praying and you just do it because like your mom told you to, and like but still in the midst of your prayer you just suddenly get that feeling of like really contentment and all that stuff. So I think maybe that competition thing is there. It's like that too. You're like, okay, I really want to beat this person, but then like you start praying or you start giving away your money, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like inshallah will bless you to just find the real reason, which is just to please Him. So I think maybe he's like what Omer was saying, that this is just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is instructing us, because inshallah that is maybe that is what's going to come of it, that you'll find more peace. Whatever the route is that you initially took, it doesn't really matter as long as inshallah you found that good action, and inshallah that good action will lead to a better relationship with Allah.
Okay. Okay. Done?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, because then this eye gets deeper. Okay. So they would wish out of this destructive envy that rather than you become part of their beliefs, that you just reject faith after the truth has come to them. Okay. Meaning they even recognize that you're on the path of truth. Okay. And rather than them embracing truth, they would rather let you reject it. It goes hand in hand with this type of destructive envy. And then we have the fifth command. Dun, dun, dun. Who can tell me what the fourth command is? I think that's
give good
that's number 3.
Forgot.
No, I know we just learned this last time.
Yeah.
See this hand? This is the,
Unzerna.
okay, so what's that in English? The epic fail hand. Yeah.
Notice, like our view or.
Relationship.
Oh, don't say unzurna right now. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, don't, okay, what is it?
What does that mean?
Right.
No, because it's
Don't
it's
like,
more
but
like
don't say right
add
now.
up for the prophet.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
So-
then and then for everyone else.
So,
For
so
everyone else, yeah.
the fourth command is that when you speak, first and foremost with the prophet, peace be upon him, you speak with him in respect, and then with everyone else, you speak with everyone else, regardless of belief, with this approach of look upon me for what I can do to you. No, look upon me for what I can do for you, Yeah, these little words as good stuff. And how can I serve you? And then listen. Fifth command.
Yeah, I know. It's like.
Fifth command in the middle of this ayah. So there are those people who want your destruction, and what should you do? Fa'fu wasfahu hatta yati Allahu bi amrihi. So forgive, pardon them, and you can read the second word a couple ways: be indulgent toward them, or just forget about it. Okay? If there are some people who want your destruction, forgive them. Why is that important? What if the ayah just said, there are many among the people of the book who would want you to apostate from belief and into rejection out of envy from within themselves after the truth has come to them? How different is it if it just stopped there? Rather than say, okay, there are many among the people of the book who would want you to apostate from belief into rejection out of envy from themselves after the truth has come to them. So you should forgive and forget about it, or forgive and be indulgent toward them. Because because if you find this out, then what's your knee-jerk reaction going to be? To wish the same for them, right? That if you find out that, okay, people are seeking your harm, it's easy to fall into the trap of wanting their harm to happen, right response, right? That's very much in the nature of many people. So what are we being told? Forgive them. So people who are attacking you for your beliefs, forgive. Forgive. And then wasfahu, you can read this a couple of ways: forgive and pretend like it never happened, or forgive and be indulgent towards them. So as nasty as they're being to you, be extra good to them. Until God gives a different command otherwise. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. Indeed, Allah is over all things able. So adding this last portion of this, what are we saying? That this hatred that some people have for you is something that Allah Ta'ala is allowing them to have for you. Meaning what? He's testing you with it. Do you fall into the trap of being Team Islam, or do you fall into the trap of serving God? And what is the service to God? When people are expressing hate to you, you forgive.
Can you explain it real quick? I might have missed it. It says hatta ya'ti Allah bi amrihi.
So hatta, until, ya'ti Allah, until Allah brings bi amrihi, His command. So until God commands you otherwise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're going to see a little bit of that in a few ayahs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's nondescript on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay.
Raise your hand. Okay. So now we've had 5 commands. The first 2 relate to our relationship with God, and the next 2 relate to our relationship with other people. The third command relates to our relationship with other believers. Fourth command relates to our relationship with the Prophet, peace be upon him, and in general with everyone. And what is that? Have the attitude of service. And then the next command is for the people who are hostile: pardon, forgive, be indulgent to them.
Actually, what's interesting, I remember like somebody pointing out when it said when we make dua, say fa'fuan, we're not just asking for forgiveness, we're
Wipe
away the slight.
Absolutely,
Actually, what you're being told here is forget about it.
Yeah.
Don't even leave it in your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, wait, afwa means not. It means overlook it. It means like blot it out.
Forget
about it. Yeah.
We ask Allah to blot out our sins, that they're not even there anymore.
Yes.
It's going beyond the point of just overlooking my sins and forgiving
Beyond
them,
forgiving,
to
it's saying clean the
wiping
slate.
them out.
Yeah.
So if we take that analogy
Yeah.
here, if it's the same
Same thing.
word, then we're supposed to wipe those thoughts out of our
Yeah,
head.
so it's as though they never said it. Yes.
Like I know with F1 it's like completely erased and stuff, but when I'm like, someone asked me today, they're like, so if you ask for forgiveness for a certain deed, is that still going to be like in your book of deeds if it's been forgiven, or is that still going to be there? I know it won't count against you, but will it like still be like?
It's one of those questions for which there's scholarly speculation.
Oh.
So one answer would be yes, it's in your book of deeds. The actual forgiveness takes place in the Akhirah. I mean, when else would it take place anyway? That forgiveness will take place in the Day of Judgment. The question becomes, is it actually going to still be there? Yes?
I'm so sorry. Is there also something where the consequence of your actions, if it's wiped, then the consequence of your action is also gone?
So that would be the afu. This is the word here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That inshallah, like when you're seeking forgiveness, just textbook forgiveness, it's not being held against you. But then like the avalanche that you might have started is still there. Whereas this word here is, you're seeking to make it as though it just never even happened.
I'd like to, if I can, I've been finding it like interesting. So in the Quran, when attributes of Allah are mentioned, like at the end of verses, so like you said, it says until Allah brings forth further amr or commands, but then the end of the ayah is in Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. It uses that word about qadr, qadir, suggesting that it's part of the plan, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Which is fascinating, because it's like it says stay tuned, right? Sort of. So, anyways,
This brings us to command number 6 and 7. Yeah. Wa aqimu salah wa atu zakah. Establish salah, give zakah. So this is fascinating, that among all of your obligations to God, we are taught that perhaps the most important or the pillar obligation is your salah, is your daily prayers. Yet it comes more than a third of the way into this surah. We've had 5 commands prior to this. I mean, wouldn't it make sense that if, as we're taught, salah, your daily prayers, are the pillar of your religion, wouldn't it make sense that that would be the first command? After, worship God and turn away from everything else. So what can we take? Do you see the point that I'm making? That it seems like that would come really, really early. So what wisdom can we gather from the fact that first command is about a relationship with God, second command is about a relationship with God, next two are about our relationships with people, and then we're told to pray. So what wisdom can we gather from this fact that the instruction to prayer comes after all those things?
It's like establishment of faith first.
Okay.
Like how kind of all the Makis, the Makis surahs had to do with faith and Iman, and then the commandments were in Medina. So I think just, obviously you're not going to feel anything in prayer if you don't have your faith first in God. Okay. And then also good character, which is what the other commands.
Yeah, and the other commands are all about good character, right? When you see other believers doing good, point it out, may wish God to reward them. When you are meeting with people, have the demeanor of how can you serve them. And when people are hostile to you, be forgiving. Yes, ma'am.
I find, like, when I think about the sequence of those, I feel like when you're doing prayer, intrinsic in that, if you're doing 5 daily prayers, if you're consistent about that, part of that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I feel like you can't do it unless you have a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that you have a relationship with your community. I feel like that's almost intrinsic in the namaz. Does that make sense? I just feel like it's like once you're doing that, they feed off of each other, but I can't imagine somebody doing namaz 5 times a day and not having a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not having a relationship where they are feeling a sense of community and treating others well. I just
seems like a contradiction.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So,
And then whatever good you do, you're sending it forward for yourselves. Good. Selves. وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ مِنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. You will find it with God. إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala knows what you are doing, or what you are doing, He knows. So, why else do we find the Salah and Zakat together? This is the point we discussed about 50 ayahs ago. How do they relate to each other? Because you find them together so frequently.
Because the God's like once a year and Salah is 5 times a day, so it's like as a reminder for to pay the Zakat.
Okay, good. What else?
It's also connecting with the divine and connecting with people.
Okay, so this is another point that your Salah is your focus is on God, and Zakat is your service to God by helping others. Okay, good. What else? Purifies the heart. Yeah. So Salah is purifying your heart. Zakat is purifying your wealth. You know. And then we spoke about Salah being your connection, and connecting to God, connecting to the Prophet, connecting to nature, connecting to the community, connecting to yourself. What is it that prevents me from getting further in my connection? It's my attachment to the world, right? That's something we saw before. And so when I'm breaking of my wealth by giving some of it away, I am breaking that attachment I have to my wealth. So this anchor that's holding me down from flying higher, I'm cutting that so I can connect more. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so obviously the ideal is to have, all of your attachments go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nothing anchored in the world. But is there a level of attachment that's acceptable?
Oh, that's so interesting that now you're taking the other approach. A little while ago you're like, should, but now it's like, is it okay if we have some attachment? Yeah. So in human nature we're saying, yeah, of course. Yeah, right?
No, it's not the should. It's obviously the real.
What if we say, no,
you should be
disconnected from everything.
I think that's what, when you listen to the same Qatar, he's like, I just feel bad about you.
Why are we always knocking him for saying
He's like our old friend.
Don't knock him down. Let him get to his level of high.
Shouldn't we want him to have everything we have?
He's like at a way higher station than you, like, for natural. But my point is, I think I'm just resentful because I just don't get it. Let's just be real here.
You mean you're having like that Hasad feeling?
Oh no!
No, I don't feel bad about him. I just don't get it. I just some of the stuff that when they're talking about attachments, I really struggle with it because I feel like well, I feel wrong even like loving another human being. Like I feel like maybe I shouldn't feel that way. Maybe I should just.
And then like to get back at them, you like go to your whatever your Ifat store is and you buy your Ifat product, and then this is why I think you
Ifat product. Do you have a line of products you're not telling us about?
I don't know what to suggest, whether it's jewelry or cars.
Because I feel like everybody has some level of attachment, and I feel like when you listen to like the scholars, I'll say the scholars, unnamed,
the uncles, maybe.
Like I just don't get it. I feel like they almost have this sense of there's no level of attachment that's okay. Like you shouldn't be attached to your.
You do, because I don't get that feeling from
I don't get
the
that
scholars.
feeling
I don't know. I feel like
I think it must be just.
I think his actual words are, you should try not to be attached. Unless your name is Ifat, then you've really got to be just away from everything else. I think that's what his lecture actually says right there. Somebody here was saying something.
No, I've heard the lecture about the sleep, and he does say stuff about like, that's not really what's required and all of this stuff. Unless he says there are people who do need like the 7 hours, but he says like
there are some people.
Yeah, no, but then he says
weak
like
people.
No, then he talks about
inferior.
Yeah.
I've heard the inferior apparently.
No, non-Sufis, no.
Yeah.
They only need 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I think in general his point. I think in general like attachment. I feel like what you have peace in. Like I think if you feel discontented, like the example of like loving somebody else. Like how could you be content in the world without loving somebody? And I think like if that thing gives you contentment and points you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like then it's a great thing. And like I don't know. I feel like the sleep and the money and all of this stuff, like I think it's a case by case thing. Like I think you can't just say like all attachment is bad or all attachment is.
Especially like if you look at like the Prophet's lifestyle, like isn't there also you can see that his attachment, especially to like Khadija and his uncle, like that whole year was called like the year of sorrow because he lost so much. So obviously you can see that attachment even within the Prophet's life. So I mean, obviously it's not wrong to
There's
be
nothing
attached
wrong,
to
yeah.
people and to like, I mean, I guess there's wrong attachment.
I think a way to imagine it is that when we speak in Buddhist tradition, that's more what you're talking about. It's complete detachment from everything else. When your focus is your attachment to Allah, I think that actually increases your attachment to everything else, which is transforms the nature of the attachment.
It's really deep.
Yeah, it's coming from.
Stop right there.
Yeah. So, it's coming from my note too. Okay, so. Yeah. Okay, so. I'm sorry?
Full circle back.
What? What?
She's like, don't pump up the ego. He's like, come on.
Nothing.
We're not about to.
Can you
so
believe?
grateful to them.
Okay, continuing the theme. Actually, now put 110 together with 109. So 109 was this ayah about hasad and forgiveness, and then 110 is about salah and zakah, and whatever you do, you shall find it with God. Put these two together.
By increasing your salah and by giving of your wealth, you will find a way to overcome the inherent tendency that you may have towards jealousy, and you would inshallah.
It's cure for hasad.
So then salah, when we call it a pillar, what are we saying? That it's reinforcing it, right? And hopefully against those other behaviors. Back to the previous question when I asked, what should be the consequence of fulfilling the 5 pillars? That it should be a decrease of sins. It should over the long course, result in an increase of love for God and then love for God's creation. Thus, fighting off this type of envy. And then, if that is not enough, whatever it is I do, God knows it. Assalamu alaikum. Come on in. You want to teach? Usually how kids respond to me for saying that as soon as I look at them. It's like, okay. 111. Continuing the theme of tribalism. وَقَالُوا, and they say, لَنْ يَدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةِ, no one enters Jannah إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ هُدًى أَوْ نَصَارَى, except for those who were Jews or Christians. Now remember how we translated Hudan and Nasara before, right? Judeans, Nazarenes. What is the response? Tilka amaniyuhum. Amaniyuhum. These are their vain desires. This is their conjecture, their wishful thinking.
Isn't this their iman? I mean, their faith, or what? Is it the same root?
This is amaniyu. This is more not alif mim nun. This is mim nun. Yeah.
How does this ayah fit with the other ayah from, I think it was 239 or 262?
262.
How does this fit with the other ayah? Because that's saying, like, they will surely go to heaven. And, like, are they talking about, because how you said this definition is the same as that one?
The word is, yeah.
So.
But here, they're saying, you can't go to heaven unless you're one of us. I mean, effectively, they're saying you can't go to heaven if you're a Muslim. Or anyone but, essentially, these two groups.
But we're saying that they're going to.
So, we're saying that the people before the Prophet, peace be upon him, anyone who believed in God in the last day and did right, they'll have a reward. But here, what they're basically saying is no one's going to be paradise except for our people.
I think verse 112 for the answer to your question, essentially.
Yeah. So this is their wishful thinking, and so how do you respond to wishful thinking? Demand proof. What's the point of demanding proof for this? That it is often in the nature of tribalism that people pick and choose what the text says to support their narrative. And often they might not even follow what their text says. That tribalism goes hand in hand, as we said, with this type of envy, and also goes hand in hand with wishful thinking. that there's something special about us just because we are who we are.
Did you say there's nothing special?
No, that there's something.
Oh.
You know, that's part of the narrative. Yeah. So you're basically calling them out by asking for proof. You know, show us in your book where it says this. And then the true response, as what he was mentioning, is bala, nay, whoever surrenders his face to God, and he is muhsin, meaning he